Well, Dak Prescott ranked 4th overall in deep passing performance last season, according to Pro Football Focus. And with the addition of CeeDee Lamb, Pro Football Focus said Dak could appear even higher this coming season. So, Shannon, are you surprised?
I was a little surprised, but Michael Gallup was a very good deep threat for Dak Prescott last year. Dak did push the ball down the field. Skip, he got the name Dink and Dak because if you look at his first 2 years, Skip, he was 22nd. And then he went from 22nd and 16, 17 to 19th and 18 to 3rd. And that's why Dak wanted his money. Dak said, I've been improving. And y'all trying to give me 2016 and 2017 money. I need 2021 and beyond type money. So, Skip, I was a little surprised because, you know, when you look at it, you don't think, because they fell behind so much. And what teams were doing they were preventing them from getting the big chunk plays. Let them nickel and dime, and that's why at the end of the game, you see Dak have like 25, 30 completions with 400 yards. It was because they were behind and people was giving you all that underneath things. But I guess when you look down, when you break it all away, his first 3 games, he was pushing the ball down the field. Michael Gallup had over 1,100 yards. So somebody had to get down the field. So when you look at it, Skip, he's improved. Dak has improved every year. Now, Skip, that might not always go to the record, because a lot of times we can see improvement, but the record is not indicative of the improvement that a player has made. Sometimes a record is better, but the player doesn't improve. Dak has gotten better every year from his rookie year to his end of his last year. We know that. And so when you look at this stat, Skip, he's 4th in deep passing performance. That's a huge stat, and that's one of the things that he and Todd Francis sliding on over there to Stephen and Jerry Jones. Take a look at that, fellas.
On your final point, I much agree with you. To my chagrin, I'm dreading that. I'm going to get to that in just a moment. I also agree with you. I was a little surprised by this. I know he throws the deep ball pretty well, but his stats ranked him 4th last year. And by the way, that's 5 notches above Patrick Mahomes down at 9th. Carson Wentz is 10th. Aaron Rodgers, 11th. That's pretty great. So I have 2 requests. I told you the other day, you can no longer ever wear your goat mask again except on Halloween, because it's over. Obviously, Jordan is now conclusively proven to be better than LeBron James. So you can wear your goat mask on Halloween, or if you go back to South Georgia to visit the farm that you grew up on. Other than that, now we get to the nickname that you hung on my guy Dak Prescott back in 2016, Dink and Dak. It's a clever nickname, but it no longer works. It is defunct. It is obsolete. It is officially retired because he ranked 4th in the whole league in deep throwing. Okay, now to the line Jenny touched on as she opened this topic up, Pro Football Focus said, with CeeDee Lamb added to the mix this year, Dak Prescott could appear even higher on this list come next season. Yeah, he could. Amari Cooper is still one of the best deep threats in pro football, especially at home, not so much away. As you point out, and you were really the first to market with this, Michael Gallup is emerging as one of the top deep threats in football. And I told you before the draft, CeeDee Lamb is that guy. And he fell into the Cowboys' lap at 17. And I told you the next day, he's going to change life in Dallas. He will emerge ultimately as the best deep threat of the Cowboy receivers, even beyond Amari and Michael Gallup. Now you've got triple jeopardy for defensive coordinators. And don't forget, you still got to account for that 21 lined up back there at running back, who can also catch it on swing passes out of the backfield. And Blake Jarwin would be a much better deep threat tight end, a get open tight end, than obviously Jason Witten was in his dotage last year, in his last year with the Cowboys. So to your point, now we've seen in recent weeks, 4th in deep passing as high as third in MVP odds in the Caesars Sportsbook, and third in Roto World rankings of fantasy projections for next year. Fourth, third, third. Well, now to your final point. Todd France, the new agent for Dak Prescott, is going to say, Jerry, I've got numbers here that are saying we're looking at a top 5 quarterback next year. Yep. We need our money. And yet, I'm still back to my premise. The reason Dak is being heralded as Dak Prescott, the reason he's getting all this acclaim is because of his weapons. CeeDee Lamb is going to be the greatest thing that ever happened to Dak, and I thought Amari was a year and a half ago. Amari did change Dak's life. Michael Gallup is starting to change it. Yeah, CeeDee Lamb will change it. He came in with Zeke, who was the 4th overall pick. That's a pretty sweet deal. And if you look at the offensive line, I know it underachieved last year. And I realize they lost their perennial Pro Bowl center, Travis Fredericks. I got that.
Right.
But if you look across that line, there's still nobody who has turned 30 years of age. So Ty Smith is still 29. Zach Martin is still 29. Obviously, Connor Williams, the left guard, I'm not real high on him, but he's still just a baby, out of the University of Texas, a second-round pick in his 3rd year. And then Connor McGovern, 2 years ago, a third-round pick out of Penn State, looks like he might be the starting center. So, again, Lyle Collins, still just 27 years of age. They're not over the hill. It's an offensive line that is still going to be top 5 next year. Maybe they'll overachieve next year. Maybe it'll be a new dawn. Maybe they'll have a new vibe to them, something to prove. My point is, Dak Prescott is in what we say, we can't explain what it means. He's in the catbird seat next year. There's different ways to skin the cat, and then there's the catbird seat. I don't know what it means, but we know what it will amount to. Dak is in primo position with the weapons, the offensive line, and Mike McCarthy, I think, is really good at overseeing an offense. Obviously, Kellen Moore is still going to be the play caller, but this is going to be Mike McCarthy's offense. He obviously coached Joe Montana and Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers, and Dak will benefit from Mike McCarthy. So my point is, when it comes to the negotiation that we keep arm wrestling over, that in the end, it's time for Dak to wake up, smell the roses around him, and say, I got to compromise a little bit because I'm in a really good spot here. I do have 12 national TV commercials because I'm the quarterback of America's team, and I do have weaponry and protection that could make our offense, I don't know, could it be as explosive as Mahomes? It could be. Could it be as explosive as what Brady and Arians are going to put on the field in Tampa? It could be. Could it be as explosive as Lamar's offense? Yes, it could be. Shannon, you have to say, thank you, football gods, for what you gave me. And with the deal on the table, 36-ish million a year, maybe 110 million guaranteed, it's still very fair market value money for the situation you're in. You have to make it work. You need to get to the virtual OTAs and to training camp. You need to settle with Jerry Jones. You need to come to the middle of the table and compromise and get this done so you can focus on winning a championship next year.
I'm focusing on that. I'm focusing on winning the championship and getting my money. What part about no didn't you understand? The big N or the big O? No, because guess what, Skip? There is more stats still coming out that paints me in a favorable position. This had me at fourth. This had me, fourth, Skip, in deep throw? No, third in deep throws. Man, that's good. So what about another stat that come out and say Dak on third down was like number 1 or number 2? No. We still got stats. They're still calculating stats that's going to come out that's going to paint me in a favorable position. Skip, you know how nicknames go. You get to keep them. My sister's about to be 60 years old. She's Libby or Buck. She's never going to be able to get called by her real name, Shara Sharp. That's never going to happen. Check down Alex Smith. Skip, he can come back. Skip, he can come back and throw 15 touchdowns of 50 yards or more. He's going to be forever known as Check Down Alex. You know, once you get a nickname and people start referring to you as that nickname, you're not living that down. You're not. You're not going to live it.
Time out.
Anthony McFarland.
I need to know.
Go ahead.
Yeah, wait a second. How do you spell Shera? Is it S-H-E-R-A?
S-H-E-R-R-A. Shara.
Okay, so the siblings were then named Sterling, Shannon, and Shara. I like that. It's got a ring to it. It's a good name.
Yeah, all of and my sister has the middle name. My brother and I, we do not have middle names. So we were the handful of people who do not have middle names. Sterling Sharp, Shannon Sharp. But Skip, you know how this works. You know once you get a nickname, they started calling you Skip. Nobody ever referred to you by your government name. Now this is your government name.
Never.
But you were Skip. No. so no matter what, you're Skip now. So you can't, no matter what you do, you're Skip.
Okay, but it wasn't a nickname. It was actually, weirdly, the name that my father called my mother while they were courting or dating or whatever you want to call it, because I was the firstborn.
Right.
He always called her, you're the skipper of the ship. You know, whatever you say, we do, because you're the one in control here. And my mother was in control, believe me. But the point was, they named me after my father, John Edward, on the birth certificate. But the moment I was born, they started calling me their little skipper. You know, like it was the same nickname for my mom, weirdly, and it went right to me. So not one day of my life